There is a lot of pressure today on dads to be the provider, to be strong, to be wise, to be fun, and to somehow do it all without showing any signs of weakness. But what if I told you that the most powerful thing that a father can do doesn't require perfection, doesn't require money, it doesn't even require having all the right words. It's actually pretty simple and it's available to every single dad. And it just might change the trajectory of your child's entire life. So today I am sharing the one thing that every great dad does and why it matters more than anything else that you can do for your kids. Hey everybody, welcome back to this edition of Creating the Future with me, Dr. Brent Simpson, where we dive into stories and truths and deep questions that I think help shape our faith, our families, and ultimately our futures. Now it is Father's Day week, and I want to talk about something that cuts right through the noise and what the world says makes a great dad. Because the truth is, what makes a great dad is not money and it's not muscles and it's not even wisdom at the end of the day. What makes a great dad is this. Ready for this? Just show up. Just be present. In a world full of distractions and disengagement, presence becomes almost a superpower. And it's the most powerful thing that you can actually give your children. Now, let me hit you with this. The U.S. Census Bureau reports that 1 in 4 children grow up without a biological step or adoptive father inside the family. That's over 18 million children today. In fact, Dr. Warren Farrell, author of The Boys Crisis, says it this way. He says, dad deprivation is the single greatest predictor of future problems for kids, including behavior issues, poor academic performance, drug use, and suicide. Now, let's be clear. This isn't about being a perfect father today. That's not what I'm pointing at. And let's also be clear, there are so many other things that make up a great dad. But what I'm talking about today is the foremost thing. It's not having all the answers. It's something so much more powerful than what you can give your kids as an inheritance. And it's just being fully present. Not just physically, but emotionally, spiritually, and relationally. It's not something that I have fully grasped myself. It's not something that I am, an A++ person at, but it's something I'm always striving in. And it's something that I've learned is extremely important for all of our children. See, the absence of a father is a silent wound inside of our culture. It doesn't always scream, but it always echoes, and it echoes through generations. Children who grow up without a present father inside their house are 4 times more likely to live in poverty, 2 times more likely to drop out of high school, 7 times more likely to experience teen pregnancy, and perhaps most tragically, they're left asking, am I worth anyone's time? Why wasn't I enough for my father to stay? I just recently heard the story of a local pastor who was telling me that growing up without a father led him to rage issues that he has dealt with all of his life. And it's not till recently that he started going to some therapy and counseling, and he found wholeness and deliverance really from these rage issues that would constantly come up inside of his life, and how much healthier he is today. But here's the thing. Here's the redemptive truth that I want you to hear. And that is that one present father can break the cycle of 1,000 absent ones. It's really up to you to be the present father who's going to be there inside of your child's life. All right, so let's zoom out a little bit and look at how Scripture frames this model. In Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 6 through 7, it says, these commandments that I give you today are to be on your hearts, right? Impress them on your children. Talk about them when you are at home and when you walk along the road. Translation, be present with your children. Teach them, train them in everyday life, not just on occasional bursts, not just in occasional moments, not just in rhythms of big events and big vacations or what have you, but in daily connection with them. And then we start to look like Jesus, right? What did Jesus do? He walked with his disciples. He didn't just create seminars. He didn't just have big sermons, big moments. He walked with them. He talked with them. He camped with them. He ate with them. He did life with them. Jesus discipled through his presence, and God the Father reveals his love not from a distance, but by coming close. That's why Psalm 46 would say, God is our refuge and strength and ever-present help in times of troubles. Dads, we reflect God most clearly not when we preach sermons to our kids, but simply when we are showing up day in and day out. If you don't believe me, let's take a quick dive into the science of it. Dr. Daniel Siegel, a clinical professor of psychology at UCLA, he says it this way. He says, presence changes the architecture of a child's brain. Hear this. When a father emotionally is attuned to their child, when he sees his child, when he listens, when he laughs, when he even sits in silence with them, it helps build all kinds of things inside of them. And scientifically, they say it creates emotional regulation so that you're not up and down emotionally all the time. It creates identity. Identity formation comes from a father being present. It creates stress resilience. You can handle more stress and more anxiety simply by having a father around. It creates long-term confidence. So many of these things which are completely lacking in our society today, in part because we just have absentee fathers. Our presence is not always there. And we'll talk about why that is in just a second. But Harvard studies show that a child with a stable, engaged father figure is 70% more likely to succeed academically and socially. See, the world wants to tell you that your kids need your income. Listen to me. No, sir. What they really need is simply your attention. And this is awesome because you don't have to be rich to pay attention. You just have to be a person who loves and cares. All right, so what does the showing up actually look like? What does it look like to simply be present? I'm going to give you 5 takeaways, 5 practical takeaways that you can look at to how to be present in your child's life. Number 1, start small and stay consistent. Whether it's bedtime prayers, whether it's weekly breakfast, you're making them breakfast in the mornings, whether it's drives to and from the school, picking them up from practices, be consistent. Whether it's evening check-ins, be consistent. Hear this, rhythms are greater than any great gestures. I remember years ago, Ada and I had gone to one of those things where they try to sell you a timeshare, but they give you free Disney tickets. And we were poor, so we needed those free Disney tickets for our family. And I remember the guy trying to push this timeshare on me and going, "Well, your kids you need to make memories with your kids, and you need to take them on these vacations," and really hard selling me. And I remember thinking in myself, the truth is, it's not about the big vacation. It's about a dad who just comes home day in and day out. That's going to have a far bigger impact than some big expensive vacation is going to have. Here's the simple truth is rhythms are greater than all of the vacations, all of the grand gestures, all the presents that you can buy them, just creating the right rhythms in your life. Number 2, be emotionally available. Ask open-ended questions of your children. Talk to them. Share your emotions. Validate their emotions when they're walking through hard times, when they're struggling with this thing or that thing. Show your own struggles in age-appropriate ways, right? Share your story. Tell them what you went through at that age, because vulnerability opens doors that authority simply cannot open. So be emotionally available and present. Number 3, put down distractions. My goodness, this can be so difficult. But presence isn't proximity, it's intentional focus. It's not just that you're sitting next to your child, you need to be focused on them. And the simple fact is, we complain about our children always staring at their phone, but oftentimes it's us as well. And your phone is not more important than the story that your child is trying to share with you from school. Or even if you're driving in the car, ask them the questions that cause them to share and create those important opportunities. I would say the very same thing might be that maybe you're distracted with work. That's an issue with me sometimes. My mind is on these other things, and I need to resettle my mind and absolutely be present. Number 4, call out identity. Say it often and clearly. Part of your proximity factor needs to be that you tell them that they are loved and tell them that you are proud of them. Tell them that God made them on purpose and for a purpose. Be not only physically present, but call out the identity that God put inside of them, because the words of a father become the voice inside a child's soul as they grow up. It becomes what's echoing inside of them so often. So make sure those voices and those words are the good ones. And then number 5, be interruptible. Sometimes the most important conversations happen at the most inconvenient times. Don't you know that's true? So be ready to pause, be ready to lean in, take the moments that you have, stop what you're doing and be interruptible. Let your children always know that they are more important than your job as often as possible. I know some of you might work jobs where it's not always that easy, but like Emma, our granddaughter, she's 5 years old. She just turned 5, and she will literally walk into my office, and whatever I'm doing, I have to stop because she will sit down on my lap. She'll start playing with the trinkets behind my desk. She starts looking at the photos on my computer that change, and some of them have her in them, and she loves that. And it's important for her to know, even at her young age, that she is more important than anything I'm doing. So be interruptible. And then I'll throw a bonus one out there. Wherever you are, be all there. We got to be careful because part of our presence is you could be physically there, but mentally you could be 1,000 miles away. I would challenge you dads, wherever you are, be all there. So if you're at work, be there. But when you're at home, be there. Sometimes this has been helpful for me, but I've had moments where I literally sat in my truck and I made a decision before I walked in the house that I was taking off my work hat and I was putting on my dad hat. In my case, I'm taking off my pastor hat and I'm putting on dad hat, and I'm leaving the pastor hat in the car. It's going to be there when I get back, but for these next couple hours while I'm at home or what have you, I am going to be dad, and I'm going to be the best dad I can be, and I'm not going to let my mind be distracted by all the concerns of the church in the moment, but I'm going to be focused in on what matters the most in that moment, which are my kids and my wife. So I would encourage you, wherever you are, be all there. That is your bonus. So dads, this is what I want you to understand. Your presence is your superpower. You don't have to have a theology degree. You don't have to have an advanced degree of any type. You don't even have to have it all together in your life. You don't have to make the most money. You don't have to have the greatest career or buy your kids the greatest presents. You just have to show up. Just be present. And any one of us can do this. It's been said that the most precious gift that we can offer anyone is our presence. And it's especially true when we're talking about your children. So if you've missed it in the past, hey, grace is real. Today, start a new start. Choose that you're going to become a great dad by simply being present. And let's be honest, we've all missed it in the past. None of us are 100% on this. So if you didn't have that model growing up, that's okay. Your Heavenly Father becomes your model for you. He's always present, always available, and always loving. And you know what? He's empowering you to do the same thing. So my prayer is that you would be the greatest, most present dad of anyone that you have ever known. And that presence is incredibly powerful. Hey, thanks for joining me today on this episode of Creating the Future. If this encouraged you or challenged you, would you do 2 things for me? Number 1, would you share it with somebody, maybe a dad or a mentor or somebody that you think might be encouraged by this particular podcast today? And then secondly, would you like and subscribe, leave a review if you're listening to this on Spotify or something like that? It helps get the word out. And then leave a comment. I love your comments. I read them every single week. I love to hear your thoughts on the topics that I'm discussing each week. And so until that time comes, so let's create a future of healthy homes, whole hearts, and present fathers. Until next time, Soli Deo Gloria.